Hello friends, welcome back to my channel. I have another video tutorial for my creative scrapbook. I am working with the March main kit and it is absolutely beautiful. I will link below in the description box the video where I share the kit so you can see what's included in this month's main kit. So I began with one idea, and this actually turns into something a little bit different. So it's just one of those layouts that kind of start off as one thing and then you change your mind, except I changed my mind a couple times here. When you have a kit to work with, it's great because everything is kind of there for you, but at the same time it's so hard to cut into papers, and you know, you just want to kind of use the perfect papers for each project, and it's so hard, and you're just, I don't know, I'm just very indecisive because everything's so pretty and I just don't want to cut something up that I'm gonna regret. So I know we all have this problem sometimes, but I went ahead and did it. So I took this cut apart, and this is all from the Jen Hadfield Simple Life collection. All the papers are from that collection and it's beautiful. It's a very pretty shabby chic sort of very woodsy, lots of wood grain and lots of florals, so very cottagey. I don't know, it's just such a pretty collection and the colors are so pretty. So I took this cut apart and I started just cutting apart a bunch of little phrases and ampersand, a heart, and I'm gonna be using this photo. It's a photo of my brother and my nephew, and this was just a Sunday. We were at their house and all the kids were playing out in the yard in the swings, and they were just sitting in the swings. So I just took a picture of them and I love this photo of them, so I wanted to scrap it. And this collection is perfect because it talks about home and family, so it's really perfect for these types of photos and everyday moments. So I cut up these pieces and I'm thinking, okay, so I'm gonna arrange them like this, and I thought maybe about using that blue background, and then I wanted to use the home because we were at home. And I love the home. It's a beautiful white or sort of cream colored background with some florals on it, so it's gorgeous. So I thought maybe I could start here, and this would have been really pretty. Then I thought maybe bringing in that wood grain because I absolutely love that wood grain paper. It is so pretty. I just love the different colors or the different types of wood that are on that sheet, so it's just gorgeous. So I'm just looking through everything else here, trying to see what else I want to use. I decided to pull a little house which is in one of those cut apart sheets, and I'm just gonna fussy cut around the little house, and it does have some flowers on it, so that little house does make it onto my layout. So this is kind of where I started. This was my idea and I like it now that I'm looking at it, but for some reason when I was actually doing it I didn't like it, or I wasn't feeling it, so I changed my mind. So I decided to trace these squares, and I'm just going to trace them just as you can see here. It's going to be one on the right hand side, one on the left hand side, and I'm going to alternate, so you'll see when I trace them what I mean. And I decided to use the home there in the center. And again, this is all going to change, but this is where I was headed at this point. So I decided to kind of leave all of this in. I could have totally cut most of this out, but I just wanted to share my thought process and how I worked through this layout. Because again, it was the first layout I created, so I kind of wanted to use everything and not wanted to use everything at all, you know, at the same time, because I don't want to waste it. So yeah, so I went ahead and traced those squares, and what I'm going to do is I'm going to bring in some colors here that match this collection, and I'm going to color in those squares. So I brought in some gelatos, and I'm going to have to mix a few colors to get the colors that I want, but for the most part I just created 4 squares of color. So I'm going to use that piece of packaging there just to mix up my colors, and I'm going to add some water and then just kind of scribble along with my gelatos. And if you've never used gelatos before, I'm sorry, they are very very fun to use, very simple to use. They're basically like a tube of lipstick, so you just kind of open it, and you can, you know, take as much out as you want of the actual color piece in the front, and you can scribble it directly onto paper. You can, you know, use water like I did here because they're very good with water, and you know, you just basically can do a lot of fun things with them. So and there's tons of colors available, so they're really, really great. So I decided I wanted to stitch around these squares. So I went ahead and poked my little holes, and you can see my embroidery floss there to the right, and I just picked 4 colors that match these. So I'm gonna go ahead and just stitch over these, or not over, around these 4 squares. And I love how that turned out. This is how it looks in the end. And I really liked that layout. I don't know why I didn't leave it like this, but again, it was just one of those things. I just couldn't get it to look the way that I wanted. So I go ahead and I cut around the squares, and I'm gonna have 4 individual pieces. So I decided the original squares that I had cut from the cut apart sheet, I'm gonna place them over these colored squares. So that's what I did there. And then I decided I wanted to use this wood grain as my background because I love it so much and I really wanted to use it. So I mess around here with the placement of all these pieces. And basically I want the phrase to read, celebrate today and enjoy the little things. So that's kind of where I wanted it. And then this right here is actually how it's all going to stay. So this right here. So I wanted something else to kind of break up the background from all the little elements that I have here, just because the background is very dark. And it works. I mean, it doesn't look bad. But I just wanted something else to kind of break it up. So I'm going to go ahead and do that in just a little bit here. But first I'm just making sure this is kind of the placement that I want. I'm going through the ephemera from the collection just to try to see if there's any other pieces I want to incorporate in here. And I'm going to keep it pretty darn simple. I'm going to use this branding strip, which matches the home word, the floral pattern on the home word. So I'm going to use this branding strip, and I will use that on the bottom there, and I'm also going to use it up top, the rest of the piece that I cut off. So I wanted to use white. I thought white was a good addition to this because it's just going to lighten things up quite a bit here. So I go ahead and pull out a white piece of paper. So originally I thought maybe I would just use it as a square and just lay all my pieces on top of it, but I end up just kind of rotating it and putting it on its side, so it's kind of like a triangle. And I like that a whole lot. I thought it brought in some interest, so I went ahead and did that. So I knew I wanted to do this and have that, but there was still something else that was missing. I couldn't quite leave it just like that. I felt that the white against that wood grain was just too much of a difference, so I wanted to add something else to it. So I go ahead and I add this red piece. And this red piece is another pattern paper from the collection. I decided to leave a little white border at the bottom. I don't know why. There was really no rhyme or reason. It just looked good to me, so I left it. And then I placed the white piece on top. And I think that finishes it off a whole lot better, or it looks a whole lot nicer and a lot more finished, or complete, I should say. So I'm just going to adhere all these down. I do have all these squares on fun foam, so they are dimensional, so they're not laying flat. And then I decided to go ahead and add, like I said, that branding strip there at the bottom and the piece at the top. And I'm looking through the sticker sheet here. I did add a white, I'm sorry, not a white. I did add a blue mat around my photo with one of the blue pattern papers, the one that I took out at the very beginning with the blue pattern on it. I added that around my photo, and that's just to bring in some color behind my photo. And then I take these little stickers, which are available in the kit, and they bring 3 different sheets of stickers. So I'm going to take the dark wood ones, and I'm going to use 3 of them there in the areas that you see, and that's just to add a little bit more detail. But again, this is how it's going to stay. I'm not really going to add anything else to it. So in the end, what I do, and I do it off camera, is I take white paint, which I water down, and I do some splatters on the top left and bottom right of the page. I thought that was a nice addition as well. And that finishes it off. So I hope you guys enjoyed this. If you have any questions or comments, please do leave them below. Make sure you check out my creative scrapbook, which I will have linked below. And thank you so much for stopping by my channel today. Have a wonderful day. Bye.